Do you regard black magic as being purely fictitious, or is there some truth in it?
Some truth. 100% truth. There is nothing fictitious about black magic, in any way whatever. It is a fact. It is a fact which has existed for several thousand years. I mean, when we talk about black magic, we are talking about Satanism, necromancy, alchemy, witchcraft, the worship of Satan.
The catalyst for the current situation you see Britney Spears in regarding her conservatorship was, of course, none other than her apparent breakdown in 2007, where we saw her shave her head. Of course, this was one big ritual, and we will be getting into that. But first off, I just want to speak a little bit about the Mickey Mouse Club, okay? So, Britney Spears was a member of the Mickey Mouse Club, and we've briefly touched on this before with the Heather Rourke story. There are a few very famous celebrities who are part of this club, some of them being Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling, and of course Britney Spears. And like I said, I've previously spoken about Mickey Mouse and how the entirety of Disney was made for programming, so you can bet that all the children that were in this club were more than likely subject to various monarch mind control rituals. Now, Marilyn Manson, I wanted to bring this up because this is important. Notice he's another MM, much like Mickey Mouse. And he gives a great depiction of the true nature of this character on the front cover of the album, The Golden Age of the Grotesque. As you can see here, we have this black and white imagery which is symbolic of duality, and we see this played out with the checkered floorboard, which I will circle back to shortly. The image here obviously implies a split personality, white and dark side. The Mickey Mouse ears are a symbol of the programming that has occurred, and again we've spoke about this before, very similar to the bunny ears. Now, I also had a quick look on his Instagram and found this picture, which says a lot to me. In my eyes, it is highly suggestive, and my guess is that he is hinting that he has multiple alters or personalities, given that he has duplicated his face multiple times and placed it sort of on his head where his brain is. I also found this picture here on his Instagram, which is the Disney clock with the pedo swirl. So that one's pretty self-explanatory. So this is the real type of energy that surrounds Mickey Mouse that is kept hidden. This picture here tells you 1,000 words. It's telling you that duality is everything. So whilst we believe that Mickey Mouse is a lovable character made for children, his true nature is in fact occulted. Which is another reason why the powers that be are obsessed with masks. If you've ever seen Eyes Wide Shut, then you'll know what I'm talking about here. You know, masks represent a facade or a false character that is being presented, while the true personality is hidden, behind that mask. Mickey Mouse Club sums to 210 with its correct spelling. So does Britney Jean Spears, which is her full name. And remember, these people that practice these arts are obsessed with the number 93 and Saturn. So of course we get a match with Saturn's 21 here. Now I found this very interesting. If you actually drop the E from Mickey, phonetically we get the same thing. So in essence we're invoking the same vibration. And the gematria of Mickey Mouse Club without the E sums to 55. And I didn't really think much of this. I mean, mind control sums to 55, but when I saw that their first episode aired in 55, then I knew that this was not done by accident, and this number is clearly encoded into the company for a reason. Without the E sums to 55, first episode in 55, and mind control sums to 55. Again, notice in this picture here where I've circled Britney Spears, they are upon the black and white checkered Masonic floorboard, which you will see literally in every TV show, movie or music video. If you keep your eyes open, they're literally fucking everywhere. And again, this is why here we have a Masonic lodge, and you can see the exact same patterns on the floor. Black and white tiles not only represent this duality or this dual nature or this twofold natured reality that we have made ourselves manifest in, but it could also seem to represent split personalities. And as I've previously stated, when you see beta slaves in black and white animal print, it is symbolic of this splitting of their personality, of their self or of their ego. So I found that very interesting. The Mickey Mouse Club sums to 201, Britney's full name sums to 201, and then we've got all the links with mind control in there as well. Got the checkered floorboard, given what we know about Mickey Mouse and the MM, there's definitely something underhand going on there. Okay, so I mentioned at the beginning of this video that the catalyst for the situation that Britney finds herself in now was her famous breakdown in 2007, where she shaved her head in public. Okay, now take a look at this image here. We can see that this happened on the 16th of February 2007. Now, if we write this date out on paper, it can be done as 16/2 or 2/16, depending on if you're from Europe or US or wherever you're located in the world. But look, yet again, we are presented with that ritual number 2/16. How many times have we spoken about that? Okay, because you just removed the dash from the date and we get 2/16. I mean, this alone is enough for me to know that this entire operation was set up because of I'm aware of the significance and the frequency that they use this number 2/16. We just seen it used for the lockdown date over in the UK. Like, it's just ridiculous. These guys don't break from pattern. But do you want to know what tipped me over the edge when it come to this? When I knew that I'd really found some shit. Well, not only was it done on the date 2/16, but Britney shaves her head sums to 2/16 in English ordinal. And I mean, just let that sink in for a second, please. I would personally love to know the actual chances of this being a coincidence. If there are any mathematicians out there that would like to work that out for me, please do and let me know. Not only do we have Britney shaving her head on one of the most ritualistic dates that you can get, but the actual act that was performed is also numerically equivalent to that same ritual number. I mean, if this isn't enough evidence to show you that the world is just a stage, then I really don't know what to say. This incident was perhaps one of the biggest rituals ever done, and it set the stage for her father to step in as her conservator the following year. Now, in this recent article, Britney made the statement, "I'm being treated like a sex slave." I mean, I've literally just spent the last few months teaching you lot about programming, sex slaves, monarch betas. So again, this story only lends credence to everything that I've been telling you about, and when I pull the symbolism in, you will see how deep this really goes. So she's openly stating, "I'm being treated like a sex slave." I mean, she's telling us to our face, quite literally. So we know about the rainbow, right? And in the last video we discussed the clips from Eyes Wide Shut, where the two beta slaves asked Tom Cruise if he wanted to go where the rainbow ends, which in my eyes is another word for disassociation. Remember, the subject must not remember what happens over the rainbow. Same date Britney's programming, well, malfunctioned, I'll just say, and she shaved her head. So all of that fits together quite perfectly. And in our last few videos on this, we've been over the sigils and the symbols for beta programming, okay? Just to refresh your memory, or if you haven't seen those videos, I do suggest you go and watch them. But these betas can be identified by animal print, butterflies, kittens, cats, bunny ears, and smash mirrors. As you can see here, Britney is rocking the old leopard print. And again, this shit is just everywhere, people. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. Just keep your eyes out for people in the media in these types of prints, okay? If you go through Britney's Instagram, it won't take you long to see all the butterfly symbolism that she's been posting. I mean, the poor girl is literally trying to tell us what's going on, I think. We've got butterflies, animal print, kittens, cats. I mean, it's just full to the brim of symbolism. And I literally went back like 2 months. I didn't even pet to go all the way back. Right, so remember I mentioned that Britney was in the Mickey Mouse Club, right? Well, she joined in 93. Of course she did. And remember I told you that the Mickey Mouse Club sums to 201. That's a Saturn number. And we know that 93 is also a Saturn number. So then the connections keep going, okay? Not only that, but Britney and Spears both summed to 39 in multiple ciphers. So do you think they chose for her to join in 1993, given that her first and second name summed to 93 in multiple ciphers? Of course not. And do you think that she's now going through this battle for conservatorship ritual at the age of 39 by chance? No, of course not. This is all meticulously planned. There are 39s encoded all over this Britney story, okay? When these rituals occur, you see in the news and in the media, they all refer to it as Britney's breakdown. When you Google her shaving her head, almost every single title you can find is Britney's breakdown, or breakdown, breakdown, breakdown. That was the tagline, okay? Not only is it BB, the 22, invoking the master number, but we know Britney sums to 93 and 39, so it's no surprise that breakdown also sums to 93 in two different ciphers. So when I say this shit is encoded up to the eyeballs, I really, really mean it. Also, she recently gave a 24-minute statement detailing the abuse that she'd gone through. Now, I've checked damn near every news source that have reported on this, and they all make sure they mention that the speech was 24 minutes long. And you know when they do some shit like this, they're doing it for a reason, because why not just say she made a speech about her experiences? Like, who gives a fuck about how long it was in reality, and within the scope of things, what she's going through and how much of a high profile case it is. We just want to know the info. We don't care how long, the speech, we don't care. It's not an important fact. Like I said, this is all encoded, and the reason that they mentioned that it was a 24-minute speech is because both Britney and Spears summed to 24 and 42, exactly like MK Ultra, which also has the 93 in there as well, which we know is to do with beta programming. Right, so let's just recap this quick before we move on, because we just ran through a lot of shit there, and I want you to take it all in because it's almost unbelievable. So Britney joins the Mickey Mouse Club in 93. Britney sums to 93 and 39 in two ciphers, while Spears sums to 39. She is currently in the media for a court battle at age 39. Her name also sums to 24, and she gave a 24-minute speech which detailed her story. MK Ultra and Saturn both summed to 24 and 93, whilst Breakdown also sums to 93 and 39. Most important of all, the infamous Breakdown happened on the ritualistic date of 216, and the act that she did also had the numerical value of 216. Britney shaves her head, which we know is the 36 triangular number, 6 times 6 times 6, and 36 is simply 39 with the 6 inverted. So yet again, there is another link through the 39 to the 666 or the 216. Right, let's move on. Britney was born December 2nd, which is the 336th day of the year. The same numbers again, 336, okay, or 36, which takes us back to 39 or 93. Not only that, but she was born with 29 days left in the year. The Mickey Mouse Club, without the E, sums to 29. Okay, so what is this really all about, okay? Well, I think these images here really do give us a big hint. She is talking about becoming the snake. And when I see the snake, the first thing I think of is reptilians, for the obvious reasons. Thuban, which is Arabic word for snake, is one of the brightest stars in the Draconian constellation where the reptilians come from. So we know that when we see snakes, it is a reference to those particular beings. Not only that, but the skin of a snake, I can imagine, is very similar to that of those type of reptilian aliens or off-world entities, or whatever you want to call them. This one here, she has her hands together, a clear sign of snake or reptilian worship, okay? She's venerating the snake here. Clearly reptilian signaling. She has the snake skin, she's got her hands together. She's talking about becoming the snake. And it makes sense then that snakes also sums to 93 and 39, like Dracos and Reptoid and dragons and reptilian bloodline and reptilians are here. And if you want to know the full extent of these hits, check my previous video about the Draco bloodline. We already know that Britney and Spears both sum to 39, but lo and behold, Britney is a beta, also sums to 93. I told you this one was a good one. Okay, so this picture here was a bit of a clincher for me. She posted it on her Instagram, and as you can see, she's under a fucking rainbow. I wonder what she's alluding to. And notice that there's this reptilian snake being above the rainbow that is literally sitting over the rainbow, waiting for the disassociation. Remember the song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow? The subject's not supposed to remember what happens over the rainbow. And that particular entity in that picture is waiting above the rainbow. Okay, this picture is literally speaking 1,000 words if you know what to look at. With that being said, she has also drawn this being to the far right of the rainbow, potentially hinting at where the rainbow ends, which again, we know sums to 216, like Britney shaves her head. So like I said, Britney has recently been in the public eye due to this conservatorship situation she has going on with her father, and this dates back to 2008, following the year that she shaved her head. Well, given what I've just explained to you about the images on her Instagram, the symbolism, the snakes, the reptilians, the 39, would you be surprised if I told you that Conservator and Reptilian are a three-way match? I mean, in light of everything I've just shown you, I'm not entirely sure how you can argue against this, to be totally honest. I mean, other than with the explanation of what we already know, how do you explain this to the average person? You can't explain this. Gematria is the only way to explain this situation. And that's the only way you're ever going to understand how deep that these rituals really run. And that's exactly why I made this channel, for stories like this. In a nutshell, Britney is essentially under control by a reptilian father, or handler, or programmer, if that's what you want to call it. You know, she's been a victim of systematic ritual abuse since she was a child. Remember, this all starts at childhood. So of course that is why she posted this picture on her Instagram as well, which is an image of her as a child giving a straight fuck you. In my head, that's her child daughter saying fuck you to the entities or to the people that have did this to her. One more thing I wanted to mention, and it ties to Prince, okay? Prince died on the 21st of April 2016. There's that 216 again, surprise, fucking prize. And this date can be written 21/4 or 4/21. Now, Prince has a song called I Will Die For You. And the reason that this song is spelt this way and not the traditional way with the standard spelling of for and you is because it is an encoded message. U is the 21st letter. So put the song title all together and what do you get? I Will Die 4/21, which just happens to be the date he fucking died. I mean, talk about predictive programming at its finest, okay? Prince also died on the Queen's birthday, okay? And if that's not enough, 21st of April is actually the 111th day of the year, and the Free Britney movement sums to 111. Now I say all of this to say, Britney has a song with similar encoded message in it, and guess what it's called? I'm a slave for you. I mean, seriously, these videos write their self. So this could be read as I'm a slave for 21. What sums to 21? Saturn, the Mickey Mouse Club. I'm a slave for Saturn. I'm a slave for the Mickey Mouse Club. Not only that, but I'm a slave on its own sums to 28 and 82 in two ciphers. And it was the year 2008 when her father that came in as a conservator. 2008 is simply 2008 is simply 28. So as far as I'm concerned, this music video is just about as encoded as it can get. A few more things I want to mention because I had some absolutely fantastic hits sent to me by some people on the Patreon. Draco's Rule the Earth and Monarch Butterfly both summed to 201, which is the same value as the Mickey Mouse Club. Not only that, but Mind Control Agent Dad and Spears Sex Slaves also sums to 201. The numbers don't lie, people. Britney's father is clearly the handler of both his daughters. And that is what is really going on here, okay? And I'm going to keep my eyes on this story, and I will make a part 2 when necessary, or if necessary, if anything else pops up. Just before I end this, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody that signed up on my Patreon. I honestly can't thank you enough, and I'm pretty sure I've had conversations with every single one of you through the DMs, so I thanked you individually, but just get a message out there on the channel. I appreciate it sincerely. I've got some crazy Pizzagate research that I'm gonna throw out this week on my Patreon, so keep your eyes open for that. If you are on my Patreon, the notes for this video will already be up, so you can go and download them to take a look. I've also had a request to do a video on Catholicism and its links to Saturn, so that's more than likely going to be the next video on the channel. Part 2 will be out. If you want me to make a part 2, tell me. I mean, I've pretty much cracked it. I don't know what else you want me to do with this, to be totally honest with you. This was a request, this video. Quite a few people asked me what was going on here, and I've pretty like it. You know, she's a beta under control by reptilians. Like, what? That's it, guys. I mean, it's sad. It really is fucking sad. But I will keep my eyes on the story, and I will be back very soon. Link for my Patreon is in the description for anybody that does want to sign up, okay? Do take care, people.